Good morning.
Good morning.
Reclaim your divine authority. Do you know what that means? It's kind of a lot of words there. So we're created by God, is that right?
Yes.
So that we are created in God's image and likeness, is that right?
Yes.
We're God's children, is that right?
Yes.
Therefore we are divine, is that right?
Yes.
If we're created by divinity, by God, and we're in God's likeness and image, and God breathed his spirit into us, his essence into us, then we are divine beings.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Intellectually, it makes sense, doesn't it?
Yes.
But do you believe it?
Yes.
Somehow.
Somehow.
We try.
So therefore, that's why I'm calling this reclaim your divine authority, because God gave us authority on this earth. Yeah? But we doubt our value. Most people, I would say, don't recognize their divinity or how wonderful and incredible a human being is. We are incredible creations. Do you know why God created us?
Yes.
You do? One reason is because God cannot relate to this physical world because he's a spiritual being. But through each of us is like an individual embodiment of God. God can actually express and exist and relate to this physical world through us. But also, God is the God of love. But love cannot exist in a vacuum, can it? Do you want to live by yourself your whole life? Some people do. Live in a cave or live on a mountain, cut off completely from human beings. But that's not our nature. Our nature is we want to relate to others. And most of all, we want to have a relationship of love. God is exactly the same, because God planted this desire in us. So God created this world and created us to fulfill love, because love needs a relationship. Love needs a partner. So we are God's partners of love. It's beautiful, isn't it? But we need to reclaim our divine authority, because most of us don't realize it. So I hope today, through what I say, I can inspire you to remind you that who you really are and who I really am. So the divine principle. There's a chapter in chapter 1, it talks about the position of human beings in the cosmos. By cosmos we mean the physical world and the spiritual world. First it says God created human beings to be the rulers of the universe. Rulers. The universe does not of itself have eternal sensibility toward God. Hence, God does not govern the universe directly. Rather, God endowed human beings with sensibilities to all things in the universe and gave them the mandate to rule over the universe directly. How do we do that? Because we have 5 physical senses through which we can rule the physical world, and we have 5 spiritual senses through which we can rule the spiritual world. So these two words, endowed and mandate, we've heard the word mandate, haven't we? With a pandemic. So I looked in the dictionary, and here are some. Endow means to bless, grant or reward. So God blessed us with these physical senses and spiritual senses so that we can rule these two worlds. It's a gift. It's a blessing. It's an award. And the word mandate means authority, command or directive. So God gave us the authority to rule both worlds. It's a command. Yes, it's a directive. This is your job. It's not my job, it's your job. Because I gave you a physical body and a spiritual body and the senses so that you can rule these two worlds. Second, God created human beings to be the mediator and the center of harmony of the cosmos. When a person's flesh and spirit unite, through give and take action and become God's substantial object partners, like when we're united within ourselves and we reflect God's nature, the physical and spiritual worlds can also begin give and take action with that person as their center. They thus achieve harmonious integration to construct a cosmos that is responsive to God. So these two worlds are responsive to God because of us. We mediate between the two worlds. But we're meant to actually be harmonized with it ourselves. Third, God created human beings to encapsulate in a substantial form the essences of everything in the cosmos. Accordingly, each person is a microcosm. The human spirit encapsulates all of the elements found in the spirit world, and the human body encapsulates all the elements of the physical world. So everything within me can be found in creation, all the elements. So that's why I'm a microcosm of everything. But also, my spirit self is a microcosm of the spiritual world. So when we go to the spiritual world, we will feel at home, because that world is made out of our spiritual elements. So what is our position? Ruler, mediator, and microcosm. That's who we are. That's the authority God gave to us. That's our position. That's who we are. But of course, however, due to the human fall, the universe has lost its master. St. Paul wrote, "The creation waits with eager longing for the revealing of the sons of God." That is, people who have been restored to their original state. So that's why Jesus came as the example of a true human being. But he was rejected, misunderstood. And now in this age, we have our true parents who've come in that same position to stand as a true man and a true woman. But it doesn't mean to say that only they should. We are meant to do the same. Our true parents are the example for us. But they want us to also achieve this level of awareness and maturity. So, ruler, mediator, and microcosm. That's who we are. We're meant to rule this world. But because of the fall, you can say, well, that's why it's such a struggle. But, you know, the fall took place a long, long time ago. And what has God been doing since then? We understand through the divine principle that God has been working to restore us back to that original ideal. And we know that 2,000 years ago when Jesus came and he showed that ideal, that's also a long time ago, which means that at that time, that was a long time since the fall. So even if we go back and we say, even if we go back to St. Paul's words about the fall, and the whole creation is waiting for the sons of God to appear, Jesus did appear. True parents have appeared, and we have appeared. And I think since the time of Jesus, the whole world has moved forward. We're not like we're still in the age of the fall. We're in the new age. We're in an age where we're coming very close to the ideal world, where we can become true people. So we shouldn't talk about the fall and be stuck there and feel, we're so separated from God. We have the ability to actually become who we're meant to be, so that we can reclaim our divine authority. So, I'll read some words from Father about this. He says, "Your conscience or higher mind is your second God, guiding you to a higher place in life. It is your center from which arises a powerful force that governs you all the time. As a guide, this mind is better than your parents, better than your teacher, better even than God. It is that precious." How can Father claim that our mind, this kind of higher mind, our conscience or original mind, our higher self that's even better than God. He said it. Do you believe it? Well, because God planted this within us. God planted this mind within us. So we are God in that sense. So when we think about God, we think God is out there somewhere, or God is in the spiritual world. God is a separate being, but God planted his essence within us. And that's why if we listen to that, we're listening to God within us. So we shouldn't, in one sense, if we ask God, can you show me the way? Tell me what to do. But actually we should ask within ourselves where God planted himself. It's all about levels of consciousness, isn't it? You know, it's like our awareness. So before I talked about this victim consciousness, many people are in the victim mentality. I am suffering because of someone else. I'm having a hard life because of others. It's the society. It's my parents. It's my ancestors. You know, it's the teachers in my school. It's everybody is against me. I'm suffering. When you think like that, you're not in touch with your true inner self. You do not feel God. You don't feel you're a divine person. Victim. Lowest level. But I think all of us, to some extent, because we live in this victim world, we can still feel we're victims. Victims of the world. But of course, the next level is a manifestor consciousness. We are meant to be co-creators. We're meant to manifest a beautiful life. God gave us the authority to create a beautiful world, but also he gave us 3 blessings. 3 blessings. Fruitful, multiply, have dominion. Fruitful means to become an ideal person. We're meant to be that. To create an ideal family. We're meant to create that. And an ideal world, a peaceful world where we create through technology and science a beautiful world and to enjoy the beauty of creation. We are manifestors. We are co-creators. That's God's mandate. It's up to you. It's your responsibility. I can't do it for you. You do it. If you're a victim, you're saying, God, I can't do anything. Help me. Help me. I can't do anything by myself. Save me. And of course, the next stage, where's that go? Channel consciousness. That is where our awareness, we understand that we're not just individuals using our creative minds. Actually, God's Spirit is working with us. So we need to be open for God to work through us, like a channel. And finally, being consciousness is when this kind of oneness with God, where there's no separation. We just feel God 24 hours a day. So this is the process. But it's all consciousness. Because I've read some books about people who, when they go to spirit world, they're kind of earthbound, like ghosts, yeah? Or because they don't know they're dead. Because their consciousness is they didn't realize there was another world, so they still think they're in this world, or they're still drawn to this world. And of course, if they committed a crime and they feel very bad, they feel they can't forget it, and it goes through over and over in their head, and so they're stuck there. They're a victim of their own crimes. So I would like today to tell you about a story about somebody who was born into a victim reality, but he rose to this manifestor, at least to that level. And this man is called Mike Murphy, from victim to manifestor. So let me tell you a bit about his story. He's an American. He's probably in his 60s now, and so probably he was born, I think, in the 1960s. Yeah, a bit like me. So this is something about his life. His paternal grandparents were alcoholics. And actually his father became an alcoholic also. And there is a picture. I'm going to show you a picture to represent what is in their family photo album, where Whereas a baby, there's a picture of him when he's about 1 year of age. He had this kind of bottle of beer stuck between his chubby legs and a cigarette put in his mouth. And it was like for fun. But actually, because his grandparents were alcoholics and his father was an alcoholic, then when he was a teenager in 8th grade, he started drinking and he became a bit of an alcoholic as well. So, you know, he was a victim of his grandparents, terrible, and his father, terrible. Yeah. What else? He couldn't help it. He couldn't help it, you know. And then he was kicked out of 3 schools. Well, if you're a bit of a drunkard, you maybe forget to go to school, you don't do your work, or maybe into fights, but actually he was kicked out of 3 different schools. Has anyone here been kicked out of a school? No. Not even once? No, to be kicked out 3 times, he must have been in a mess. And he was in a mess. And he ran away from home when he was 14. And he had some money and he escaped to another state in America, but actually I think after about 2 weeks some priest helped him to get back home. So he was a bit of a runaway. And he was out of prison as a teenager. Well, you know, if he was drinking and you kind of I don't know if he was violent, but maybe he was stealing, I don't know, but he was in the prison. Of course, he survived 8 car accidents due to alcohol. Maybe that's why he was in prison. Yeah. What a mess. Have any of you been to prison? Some people go to prison and even they're innocent, but anybody here run away from home?
I tried.
You tried.
As a toddler.
Anybody been in a car accident?
Yeah.
Yes.
Who's been in more than 1 car accident? 2? 3? 4? 5? 6? How many?
2 gånger.
Twice, yeah, 2. But he was in.
Körde rakt ut i snön.
He survived 8 car accidents.
Good guardian angels.
So what's he going to do with his life? Well, guess what? He married in his early 20s. But the person he married was kind of didn't know himself, was a bit lost, and he was a bit lost. And actually, he decided to marry her when he was drunk.
God.
And then then his wife was pregnant and had a baby, but actually he couldn't cope with this. You know, he was into his drinking, and so what did he do? He ran away from his wife and baby daughter. You know, that's what he did when he was a teenager. He couldn't cope. He was like so messed up inside. He was too immature, and his wife was also too immature. He didn't know her. She didn't know him. You know, so it was a bit of a mess. So then what happened? Well, he went off and he started drinking somewhere, and then after about a week or 2 he wanted to come home, but actually his wife kicked him out and they divorced. So he realized that everything he had done, it was because of him. Yeah, he was a victim of his background and circumstances, but he was in a real mess, and he wanted to change. And so he started reading self-help books. Yeah? You know, how he can change his life, but there was so much pain in his heart. It was really difficult. And then he went to Alcoholics Anonymous, and he started going there to kind of get help. And so it was kind of a step in the right direction. And then one day, he was so fed up with himself, he went to this church, like one evening, but the door was locked, and he was desperate, and he wasn't particularly religious, but he prayed and he said to God, if you exist, you know, appear before me now, and then I'll change my life, you know, kind of threatening God. You appear now, prove you're real, and then I'll change. Nothing happened. But a few days later, he met one man who was going to Alcoholics Anonymous, and he gave him a note and he said, contact this person, phone him up, because I think maybe this person can help you. So This is where he met the mystery man. I say the mystery man because he'd forgotten the name years later. He didn't know who he was. But this mystery man, later he found this man, and I'll tell you his name later, but this is a picture of him, the mystery man. And he was expecting some kind of a guru, an old man with a white beard and, meditating and like a yoga, but it was just a very ordinary guy, maybe like an office worker. But because he really wanted to change his life and he was desperate, he would do anything. But of course, the man who gave him the note, he said, well, if you go there, he can help you, but you have to give him, he'd want $50. And at that time, in order to make money, he was working in a restaurant, like serving, like a waiter. And he needed that money to pay his wife child support, and he didn't have a lot of money. So $50 then was a lot. But anyway, because he was desperate, he went there and he gave them money. And this is what this mystery man said to him. Here's how it's going to work. We'll meet 1 hour a week for 7 weeks. Between our meetings, I'll expect you to do just a little work to prepare for the next. In the 7th week, you will receive a gift that will forever change your life. You do this, and you will get everything you want. Sounds pretty good. Will you pay $50 for that? Yeah. And then he said, whether you like it or not, you've created the life you're currently living. And more accurately, you've co-created it with the universe. When he said universe, actually he meant God, but he said the word universe. And before you can have the life you want, you need to take responsibility for how you ended up where you are and why. That's it, isn't it? You've got to take responsibility. You created it. Do you think you created your life? 100%? Well, God gave us responsibility. Yes, God gave Adam and Eve responsibility, and they were not responsible, so they fell. And I suppose all through history, people promise things to God, I'll do this and do that, and then they betray God or they turn away, and then they blame others. Do you know anybody who blames other people for their situation? Has anybody got a perfect life here? Do you blame others sometimes for your imperfect life? Do you blame your ancestors? You blame your parents?
I blame Adam and Eve.
Adam and Eve, yeah. Okay. But still, you have to take responsibility. Then he goes on to say, I'm not trying to blame you for the difficult circumstances you may find yourself in or dismiss all your suffering as being self-created. But I'm asking you to consider that you are maybe more powerful than you realize. You are more powerful than you realize. Like in the beginning, we are divine. And we are meant to do great things. And planted inside of us is God's mind, God's heart, God's essence. And we're given responsibility. And we can do great things. But if we don't use our mind correctly, we feel, I'm a victim, or I'm no good. I can't do that. I have doubts and I have fears. And I have worries, and I can't overcome certain things. Well, because your thinking is such. But if you change your thinking, then you realize you're actually pretty powerful. You are already a creator, whether you know it or not. Your every thought, feeling and belief, including those you are not even aware of, carries a vibration out into the universe. And those vibrations shape the world around you. So what's all this about? This is about the law of attraction. The law of attraction, according to the way you think and the way you feel and what you believe and the way you act, you create your life. Thoughts become things. And even Jesus said, when you pray for something and you believe, you will achieve it. Yeah. Pray believing that you will receive, and you will receive. So that's what the law of attraction is. Yes? Ask, believe, receive. Ask, believe, receive. So, you've heard about The Secret, the movie? Yeah? Who saw that movie? Was it inspiring? So do you think, has it changed your life? Oh, yeah, some people are saying yes. So actually, what I discovered by studying is that in the modern era, the law of attraction, for the past 150 years, there have been many so-called practitioners of this. It's not something new. It's been going on for a long time, in the last 150 years. And there are many people today, there are many books about the law of attraction. And all these people who write, they're writing because it made a difference to their lives. That's why. So I would like to tell the story about how Mike Murphy transformed his life using these principles. And of course, this mystery man said, what is your dream? What's your desire? What do you really want? And he said, well, I want to be reunited with my wife and my daughter. You know, I want to be back together. It's my fault, but she doesn't want me, but I want to be back. And so in the first week, he asked him to write down his desire or intention. And so his intention one was to be reunited with my wife. But to write it, you know, how do you write it? And he said, well, you have to write it in the present as though it's already happened. And you have to believe it's already happened. And you have to have words there that are positive words. And you have to empower it with a strong emotion, a strong desire. You have to really want it. And so with this mystery man, he crafted his first intention. I would read it to you. My wife Lisa and I are happily married. Every single day our love for one another grows deeper and stronger. I am so grateful to feel such great peace and love. My wife loves and adores me, and I love and adore her. Our love empowers me to be a better version of myself. Our life and love is beautiful and inspires others. Our daughter Michelle thrives in this spirit of love. Both parents love her very much, and she returns this love unconditionally. I feel so amazingly blessed. All three of us are so happy. I love my marriage and my life. It's like an ideal family, isn't it? Would you like to have an ideal? I mean, maybe your family is ideal, but you know, this is something we can affirm. But he's saying, say it now. It's happened now, even though it wasn't the truth, because actually, in order to create something better than what you have to realise that this is what's existing is not actually. It doesn't have to be that way because you've created it. You can change it. And so these positive words like happily and love and adore and grateful, and actually empower in all of his intentions, always to be grateful, because gratitude opens your heart. Gratitude is a bridge to love. So gratitude is very important. So you could say there are 4 elements there in the present tense. Positive words, strong emotion, like really, I'm very happily married, yes, and I feel my wife adores me, you know, strong words, emotion, and finally to be grateful. And so then the mystery man said, okay, that's it for this week, off you go. But next week, come back again and tell me another dream you have, something else you want to achieve. And so he came back next week, and he said, well, you know, I have no money and I'd like to start my own business. He's working in a restaurant, but he's not happy there because he feels that the people who own the place, they don't really care for the employees. There's not a good atmosphere, and he thinks, I could do a better job. And so he says, you know, I'd really like to have my own business. That was his dream. And he said, so this was his intention, his affirmation to affirm what he wanted. I own my own business and I love it. I focus on taking care of my customers and employees. I love my customers and employees, and in return, they love me. My wife and daughter support me in our business. It makes me feel incredibly happy that they can be there with me. Our family is so supported by our business and by the love we receive from our employees and customers. My business grows stronger every day, and I am so very grateful. People from all over the area hear about our business and how special it is. it becomes the talk of the town. I'm deeply grateful to be able to do what I love. I experience joy each day that fills me with the energy to work harder and serve more customers. What a wonderful attitude to have. If you have a place where you work and it can be like that, filled with love, appreciation, everyone working together. Oh, and I'm so grateful. I'm so blessed by all of this. It's wonderful. And then he went away and the man said, yeah, come back next week. Of course, he talked to him about how our thoughts can change things, because we understand that basically it's not a solid universe. Everything is energy, yes? And so your thoughts are also energy. And so you can change the world because it's not solid. And that's one of the bases of the law of attraction, that your thoughts can actually have an effect upon on the universe because it's not static and stuck. Next week, what does he want? By the way, did anybody here start their own business? Would you like to start a business? No, yeah. Too much work. But would you like to have lots of money? Yeah, why not? Yeah, yes. So here is somebody. So his next intention was this. He wasn't making much money in his restaurant, just serving tables. He wanted to make much more. So how much money would you like to make every month? Yeah. As a pensioner, I earn about 14,000 now. Yeah, not bad, considering. But some people have much less than that. Yeah, some people have more. But I'm not working anymore, so my income's gone down. But I used to earn a lot more, but anyway, here we'll go on. So, intention 3, make over $10,000 a month. Is that about at least 100,000 krona a month? Anybody like to have that money? Yeah. Well, this is what his intention, or what he affirmed this time. He said, I am so excited that my income is over 10,000 a month and increases monthly. I love that I am able to generate this wealth doing something I love and providing great value and a joyful experience to my customers. I am so grateful for my growing paycheck and the life it makes possible for me and my family. I love my job and my career. So he's putting out a lot of love, a lot of positivity, a lot of gratitude, and he's saying, I've got it now. It's in my hand. Look at it. Wow. Yeah. I have used this law of attraction with money before on 2 occasions. I focused and I said, I want to find $100. Was $100? So 100 crowns on the ground. And I kept affirming it as I was cycling to work. And then one day it was there. So it works, but that's what it's all about, isn't it? If you make the effort, you can achieve. If you can conceive of something, you can achieve it. So, okay. So, are you happy where you live? Yes. Like to live in a bigger place? No. Any of you like to live in a house with a garden? No. Well, I do. I'm very happy. Yes. Okay. Any of you like to reduce your rent? Yes. Okay. Any of you like to pay off your debts? Yeah. Okay. So his next intention, to own a beautiful home, because he was living in a 1-bedroom apartment, all by himself, miserable. So this was his next intention. I love that I own a beautiful home. It is so alive with an open door policy so that dear friends and family are always welcome. We have so much fun here. What a beautiful bond our family is forming based on love and support. I am blessed that our home was easy to buy with no money down and that the monthly payments are so affordable. I relish the beautiful rose bushes and other flowers, and I especially enjoy the lush green grass. Owning my own home makes me feel so accomplished and wonderful. I am grateful for this inspiring place in which my family can grow and thrive for many years to come. You like to have a house like that? Yes. Yeah. Blessed. He is blessed. He's so happy. But he's saying it, I have it now. He's living in a miserable apartment, but he's saying, I have this now. Goes away, comes back the next week. So, are you healthy? Yes. So, would you like perfect health? Yes. How many of you have perfect health? Anybody? Or maybe some aches and pains somewhere. Or, so this is his next intention. A healthy body. I cherish how healthy I am and how great I feel. I love how I look in the mirror. Perfect body weight and lean and mean. Of course, he's in his 20s, yes. I feel powerful as I effortlessly jog and run, especially during a marathon. I am grateful for the endorphin release that makes my thinking clearer and brighter. I fully receive the extra oxygen intake as it purifies my blood and my organs. I love how I feel. Powerful, strong, clear, vibrant, and ready to embrace life to the fullest. Sounds pretty good, eh? Can any of you say this?
Where is this?
Okay, but so there's 5. But actually, the 6th one, he said, you know, all these intentions, these dreams you want. Of course, it's about yourself, it's about your family, you want to have money, and so on. But he said the most important thing to desire is not just to get, but to give. And this is fundamental. That's why we're here, aren't we? We want all these possessions. And we want a happy family. It's important. But actually, even if we have a happy family, we just live for ourselves, what's the point? So, what can we give? And so, because he had come from an alcoholic family, he wanted to help troubled youth. And he wrote this, he said, I want to open a home for troubled youth. I want to give something back because I know what it's like to be young and in trouble. And this was his intention. It is deeply rewarding to have created a transformational facility that serves as a home for troubled youth. I feel so purposeful knowing that I am helping young people who are struggling like my dad when he was growing up. I am able to draw on my own experience to share the wisdom, strength and hope I have gained in turning my life around. It is so uplifting to share the 12 steps with these young men. I suppose that's Alcoholics Anonymous. They have 12 steps. I'm so grateful to be of service. So Mike Murphy, I mean, if you ask him what's the purpose of life, he says it's to serve. It's to live for others. What do we believe in?
Yes.
Live for the sake of others. That's what it's about. The 3 blessings, you know, ideal person, family, world, but it's actually, how do you achieve it? You have to live for others. As individuals, to grow and mature, you have to live for others unselfishly. As a family, you have to live for each other so that you can grow in love. But also that family should contribute to society. And then, of course, we live in this beautiful world. We should contribute something. We can contribute it through our skills, through the job we have. Yeah, we can give our time. We can help people who need help. So those were the 6 intentions that he made. But the mystery man said, in the 7th week, I will give you a gift which will change your life forever. What is this gift? When I show you a picture, you might laugh. Yes. It's well, a tape recorder, because what he did, he said he had 2 tape recorders. On one, he played this very relaxing music, which can get you into a more meditative state. And with the other cassette recorder, he asked Mike to record all these 6 intentions and say them like he really means it and with strong feeling. Yeah? And that in those days they only had these cassette recorders. Yeah? So to do that and then make his own recording, then every day he should listen to it in the morning and listen to it in the evening before he goes to bed. Every day. Just keep doing it. And so that's what he did. And guess what happened? Did his dreams come true?
Yes.
Well, let's look back. He has 6 intentions. Be reunited with my wife, start my own business, earn over $10,000 a month, own a beautiful home, a healthy body, open a home for troubled youth. Well, it didn't happen immediately, but he remarried after 2 years. His wife called him up and asked him if she'd like to come to some birthday party, you know. He had not, he'd phoned her many times, she hadn't returned the call. But after 2 years, she asked him to come, and then they started to communicate, and then within 2 years they were remarried. So it happened. Wonderful. He started a restaurant after 1 year, his own restaurant. He didn't have any money, so he put an advertisement in the newspaper asking if anybody would sponsor him to start a business, and money came in. And he didn't know how to do it, but the idea just came to him. And he started to earn up to $300,000 a month. Sometimes. Yeah. And he bought a house shortly after remarrying. And he enjoys great health. And then his last intention to open up like a home for troubled youth, he'd actually forgotten about that one. And he realized, this is the most important thing. I've got everything, because he felt something was missing. And so then it didn't turn out the way he had intended, but even better. He started a foundation to help cancer victims and help young men struggling with addiction. So and actually there's more to that. But so this man, he was a victim of alcoholism, and he was in prison, and he ran away from home, and he deserted his wife. He was unfaithful, but then he was desperate, and because he was desperate, he sought help. And the man that he met guided him, and he trusted him, and he followed this exactly. This is the law of attraction in action. So who is the mystery man? Well, years later he tried to, because he'd forgotten his name, and he found the family of this man, and the man had passed away, and he was able to actually find some of his writings, and he's used these writings in a book he would write later about this process. And the name is Douglas Preston Fitzgerald. You might say, well, nobody's special. But he transformed one person's life. And actually, because Mike Murphy transformed his own life, he has helped many, many people. So Douglas Preston Fitzgerald is now in the spirit world. And maybe, he died a quiet life and no one knew him. But imagine how excited he is now to know that the things which he taught this young man have had a big impact upon the world. And so the book that Mike Murphy has written is called The Creation Frequency. And he says this in it: if you're feeling stuck, unfulfilled, or dissatisfied with your life, the answer lies in raising your personal vibration to that perfect pitch where your intentions and desires resonate with the intentions and desires of the universe, with God. Raise your personal. How do you do that? Get rid of all of this. It's like we have a lot of negative stuff in us, in our subconscious. And so these affirmations is like to raise our vibration so that these negative things in our subconscious, we can reprogram ourselves. That's what the law of attraction is about. Yeah. Reprogram. We're influenced by our upbringing, by our society, and we have within us, in our subconscious, certain attitudes and beliefs. We have fears. And he said in this book that, fear is like the opposite of love. Love is the highest vibration. Fear is the lowest. Fear closes your heart. Fear makes you feel you're a victim, and you can't do anything. He also says this: I call this the creation frequency. It is the sweet spot where you're in tune with life. When you tap into this frequency, you reclaim the creative power that is your birthright. You will find yourself able to work in partnership with the universe to manifest the life of your dreams. So when I say reclaim your authority, this is your birthright. We have this creative power that God gave us. It's our birthright. It's a mandate from God that you are the ruler. You are a co-creator. That you have this possibility. But because we have all of these programs in our subconscious we're not aware of, and we've been affected by the environment we live in and the life we've lived, we don't believe that we can go further. No, I'm not so special. But actually, God cannot be happy until we fulfill our purpose, until we respond to him and raise our vibration and become people of true love. So in his book, The Creation Frequency, he lists 6 categories of desire, based upon what this mystery man said, but also he kind of changed it a little bit. First, physical health and well-being, family and relationships, money and material possessions, career and vocation, personal and spiritual development, service and contribution. This is a balanced life. This is the 3 blessings. Physical health and well-being, first blessing. Family and relationships, second blessing. Money and material possessions, third blessing. Career and vocation, I suppose it's a bit of all 3. You know, you're working with people, you've got your own skill and you're contributing to the world. Personal and spiritual development, first blessing. Service and contribution, well, it's the first, second and third because you're living for others. Reclaim your divine authority. So I'd like to just remind you of these words from Father about what he said about our higher mind. Your conscience or higher mind is your second God, guiding you to a higher place in life. Guiding you to a higher place in life. Within us, there's a desire for something better, greater, more beautiful. It's in us. It is your center from which arises a powerful force that governs you all the time. It's within a center and it is powerful. As a guide, this mind is better than your parents, better than your teacher, better even than God. It is that precious. It doesn't mean we put God down. We don't put our teachers down or our parents down. But it's to recognize our precious value of who we are. And with that, I'd like to finish. Thank you for listening.